Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're all doing well, and today we have a very special video that I am thrilled for. We are going to talk about probably one of the most underestimated designers when we talk about the scale, about the popularity of his. The designer that I personally think should be on the same level of public discussion as Margiela and Helmut Lang and Reiko Akubo, because his vision and his performance art that he combines with fashion is something that should definitely be studied and explored more. And his name is Hussein Chalayan. So if you're a young fashion enthusiast, I feel like he might have been flying under your radar for a bit too long, because I don't see a lot of discussion about him online. The only big video addressing his work is on Blaise Foster's channel, which is an awesome one. Definitely check it out. But who is Hussein Chalayan, you might ask? He's a Cypriot British designer whose family had to flee Cyprus during the Turkish invasion. So he first studied fashion and clothing at Warwickshire School of Arts, and then he continued his education in, of course, Central St. Martin's. He graduated Central St. Martin's in 1993 with a collection called The Tangent Flows, which might have been one of the most astonishing things ever produced by Central St. Martin's student as a graduation collection. So basically the clothes were buried in a backyard and then exhumed right before the show. Burial and resurrection was meant to give a referential dimension to the clothes and reference life, death, and urban decay. So the garments look rotten, decomposed. They have the stains, this earthy, reddish, and earthy shades. But nevertheless, I personally find extreme level of comfort just looking at them, because it feels like such a deep reference to the earth and to the nature. Because I mean, we're all used to seeing clothes made of leaves or like floral crowns, but the earth is something that is given life, yet it is rarely referenced in fashion. Well, the stones and things like that are frequently referenced. Maybe Riccardo Tisci's references of like minerals, it's kind of like close reference of the earth itself, but such a profound combination of art and fashion is something that I am personally obsessed with, and I'm sure that if you're watching my channel you probably also enjoyed a little bit too much. So I hope this whole collection really blesses your site with its presence and with the experience that Hussein Chalayan provides to all of us. So he used very simple textile. He used just silk that was buried with iron fillings, and it was exhumed 6 weeks later. So with this beautiful process of decay, he also demonstrates how quickly fashion dies and how easy it is to recycle, which the collection is of 1993. How actual it is nowadays? Insanely relevant, insanely on topic. The method in itself was quite extremely revolutionary, because the textures were oxidized. For example, rust is a result of oxidation. The structure of the clothes is also asymmetrical, free-spirited, easy, and what is interesting is that in the way that the models walk and the casting of the models just fits so perfectly the overall shades in which the collection is done. And I actually think that's one of the most exciting fashion shows for me personally. Let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. But what also makes it so special is that Hussein Chalayan concentrated on the process itself rather than the end result, which is the most important part for most of fashion designers. And he presented the beauty of the process that garment undergoes before becoming a garment to wear. And I think it's also a great reference and a reminder to appreciate the process rather than concentrating solely on a result. And this innovation in the way of thinking is one of the core principles in Hussein Chalayan's work, as he is always experimenting with the new textures, with the new shapes, with the new references, and his collections are extremely interesting from the referential and technical point of view. And he said once in the interview for Dazed magazine, "The way I see it, everything in fashion has been done over and over again. I decided very early on that the only way you can do something new is by using technology." So throughout his career, he experimented with innovative materials that are not often used in fashion, such as wood, mirror, technology, metal, and processes that combine the use of technology with the fashion. For example, one of the most mind-blowing collection is Afterwards from autumn 2000, where chairs and tables transformed into wearable extensions and garments on the human body. And literally the next season there was the remote control airplane dress. It was designed by means of the composite technology used by aircraft engineers that helps airplanes to fly by remote control. And the dress was created using a combination of fiberglass and resin, molded in two smooth and glossy pink colored front and back panels fastened together. But cool, remote control dress, you might think. Wow, why airplane though? Well, Hussein Chalayan also has an answer to that, as he describes the airplanes are his second home, as he was constantly traveling between Britain and Turkey, visiting his family. So airplanes provided a sort of comfort of going home. And in addition to this, becoming a pilot was one of his early aspirations, which, thanks God, did not happen, and we have such a wonderful and talented designer at Hussein Chalayan nowadays. And considering such passion for airplanes, it is not surprising that the airplane dress appeared in his collections twice. In both cases, absolutely stunning. Another childhood reference is present in his 1994 collection called Cortesia, in which the designer showed a range of dresses made from an artificial paper called Tiva. That collection featured the airmail dress, which was just plain white dress with red border and a stamp. The dress was influenced by Chalayan's childhood in the sense that it was his way of remembering the days that he would send letters and cards by email to his mom in Turkey. And of course, I know the dress looks familiar to you. And you know why? Because you probably think of this album cover by Björk for her post album, and yes, it was designed by Hussein Chalayan. Also, another celebrity collaboration that you might have missed is the Lady Gaga's appearance at Grammys in 2011 in a weird pad shell thing. Yeah, that's also Hussein Chalayan. That moment, honestly, lives in my head rent free. And another struggle, or maybe not even struggle, maybe just a moral contemplation that is present in Hussein Chalayan's work is actually something that we frequently find in the works of another designer who became a refugee in his early childhood. So Damna, yeah, of course I'm talking about Damna, but both of these designers have referenced the idea of personality, or rather lack of personality, facelessness, and lack of identity in general. For example, closing the face. But if in Demna's case, it is more concentrated on the whole like metaphysical idea of identity and personality. For Hussein Chalayan, it is more about the religion. Hussein Chalayan presented an idea that unfortunately many of us can relate, and that's the idea of feeling like a foreigner wherever he goes. And this notion was presented in his collection called Sokoku, which literally translates as a locked city. The collection was released in very Margiela way. I mean, as a film, not as a runway show. And it was mostly influenced by Chalayan's visit to Japan. So there were a lot of elements that resembled Japanese culture. For example, mesh panels that remind us of Japanese sliding doors, white silk that is draped to represent the waves of the ocean, and distorted floral prints that reference cherry blossom, as well as the traditional Japanese art of flower arrangement. And then this idea was referenced in 1998 show called Between, which is, in my opinion, more of a performance art. I'm not sure how much of this show I can actually show here, so I'll show maybe a little part. So basically, it comments on the facelessness of women in Turkish society. And the women are wearing chudra, which is traditional Muslim part of clothing, which covers their face, allowing them to remain anonymous. But then the length of chudra is getting shorter and shorter, which is with each woman leaving the last of them naked from the neck down. And I think even if you've never heard of Hussein Chalayan, you probably heard or you've seen this performance. Also, facelessness was referenced in his 1998 collection called Panoramic, where the wooden helmets were obstructing the view of the models. And of course, as a child of refuge, war plays a big part in his philosophical notion and ideas for the collections. For example, the collection afterwards connected on a very deep level with the spectators as the models were packing to leave home. The runway presentation featured a living room as a set, and a room in which the models wore minimalist clothing with pockets sufficient to store an umbrella, a vase, and every other object. And armchairs turned out to have wearable covers, and the finale saw the model nonchalantly remove a panel from the coffee table, step inside it, and wear it as a dress. And again, the easiness with which Hussein Chalayan just makes it so simple and understandable as a day, that you can actually wear furniture and that there is nothing weird with it. Just look at the models, how they have not a single worry in their face when they're stepping in a table and wearing it, or wearing an armchair. And I think that's one of the goals that Chalayan tries to pursue, is to make us understand that the weirdest things are actually completely normal. But as fun as this collection looks, the collection was actually inspired by Chalayan's neighbors in Turkey, who were all killed by the war. So this collection is just a childish reaction to the danger of his childhood. And further, this grief and melancholy was explored in Ventriloquy collection, which featured poppy print to symbolize mourning of death at war, and the runway also featured a series of sugar glass dresses that were smashed on the runway, and the show opened with a short film showing a 3D rendering of the destruction of one of the sugar glass dresses, which was a combination of the destructed dresses and the mourning of the poppies to indicate a lack of morality in times of war. and this collection connects with me on a very spiritual level, especially nowadays. And I think that's the beauty that the designers must strive for not only designing the clothes but bringing the idea in it. That's something that I'm telling every single time. And clothes do not have to be wearable. Clothes can be art, clothes are art. And most important fashion shows in Hussein Chalayan's career was 2007 fashion show that presented animatronic dresses that changed from one design to another on the runway. Each garment referenced a particular era of fashion, and a highly sculptural Victorian-inspired design would transform itself into a 1920s flapper dress through hidden mechanism inside the garments. And you can't even imagine how much I wish I could be present at that fashion show, even though 2007 I was 9. Well, I'm sure even as a 9-year-old, I would have probably had my world flipped completely because of that fashion show. And I'm sure that the audience was left flabbergasted after it, especially after the final look, where the dress just disappeared, leaving a model completely naked. And although Hussein Chalayan is known for rather radical and extraordinary, unusual collections, he designs, as he himself tells about it, he designs clothes to be worn and clothes that are close to the body. Although there is always a subtle sexual undercurrent to his designs, it has recently become more minimalistic and calm. And just by looking at his clothes, I personally feel very comfortable, especially from the recent collections, as they feature a lot of neutral tones and minimalistic cuts, as well as some original and asymmetric cuts and designs. Very careful splashes of colors, for example red, and I think it looks very chic and classic. And due to the scandalous nature of his art, Hussein Chalayan was rumored to have had some financial problems in the past, due to which he had to close down his brand temporarily and then reopen. And as far as I know, now it is functioning. Although the last collection was in 2020, it was fall 2020 ready to wear collection, which again, stunning, minimalistic, chic, and I definitely recommend you checking it out. But I will definitely be waiting for the new collections to come. By the way, for that collection, Hussein Chalayan even sang the soundtracks, which is wild, but it just proves that being a fashion designer does not make you a one-dimensional professional who just does clothes. And even it's not about fashion designing, no matter who you are, just remember that you are not this one-dimensional being, and that you can have multiple personas and multiple interests and things that you are passionate about, so there is no need to concentrate on something singular. And I hope that you really enjoyed this video. I hope that it was inspirational, because I genuinely enjoyed a lot talking about Hussein Chalayan, and I hope that you will check out his work. And this video was brought to you by the Army of Ukraine, who allows me to live one more day. So if you want to support this channel, don't forget to donate to the army, link is down below. And also you can donate to me via PayPal, also link is down below. And I see you in the next video.